Declan Rice to Chelsea. Don't worry, this is another really wonty video. We've done plenty of them. This is a hypothetical one. What are we going to do? What are West Ham United going to do should a bid arrive for Declan? Now, the transfer window shuts in a couple of weeks, and it's believed that Chelsea are waiting to announce the signing of Mendy, the goalkeeper, and then thereafter a defensive midfield, and that's it. They've also got a few players who are looking to shift on in order to get some money back into the club, but Declan Rice is their number one target for that position, but they've been put off by the price tag, which is allegedly £80 million. Now that's the context, that's where we are at the minute. We're parking that though. There's two main topics I wish to discuss today. The first one is the club's mentality when it comes to selling players, and then the second one is what we're going to do with the money, because I'm playing a hypothetical game here that a bid from Chelsea is going to arrive in the next few days. If I had to make a prediction, I predict a bid will arrive. I don't know, it's just a guess. The first one, in the summer, Ben Chilwell moved to Chelsea from Leicester, and I saw a lot of generic social media accounts, like footy accumulators and that, just posted about how good Leicester City's business has been over the last few years. Bringing in players like Mahrez, Kante, Maguire, Drinkwater, and then selling them on for massive profit. Really good business by the club. But then when you look further into that, and we know this as football fans, that they've been very wise at replacing those players to some extent. They've made a few errors. Let's not pretend they've got everything 100% right. They've made a few mistakes along the way. But then they've gotten players like Soyuncu and Dede, who are now worth a lot more than what they paid, and they were arguably better than the players they were replacing. Very good business. Now I see a lot of West Ham fans suggest, well, why can't we do that? Why can't we do this? And that's where we've got to be. But we're so far away from that, it's unbelievable. And I think it comes down to whenever a bid for one of our better players comes in, the clubs seem to panic a little bit. They go through their official, unofficial sources to say, oh no, this player's not for sale at any price. I wouldn't be surprised, I'll make a prediction now, I wouldn't be surprised today, tomorrow, because I think this Declan Rice to Chelsea rumours are way to heat up now, because if that's the only position they're after, that's what's going to be getting spoken about. I wouldn't be surprised the next couple of days we see a newspaper article or on a website or somewhere saying that the board or the top sources at the club say that Declan Rice is not for sale at any price and will not be leaving. Now, while I appreciate the sentiment and what the message they're trying to convey there, which is do not come for him, you're not getting him, I think fans, I include you in this, we wouldn't necessarily believe it, because every player in football has a price. We know that. We know that the lure of Chelsea will be extremely tempting for Declan Rice. So when we say he's not for sale, regardless, it's not true, is it? He is for sale. Would they turn down 150 million? No, they wouldn't. So now we've already got rid of your claim. Let's negotiate. And I think sometimes West Ham would be better off taking the stance that the likes of Leicester do, which is the price is this. Now, if it is 80 million, the price is 80 million. Just do it through your unofficial sources. Make sure that your favourite journalists and your favourite websites are all conveying the same message, which is the price is 80 million. Control the narrative. The board used to be good at that. Pardon me. How they wish to do it. The board used to be quite clever at controlling the media narrative. I think they're losing the battle over the last few months. But a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, they were very, very good at deciding what was in the press and what the press was saying about West Ham. There's no reason they can't do that now. But I actually look forward to the day that West Ham United generate a profit in the transfer window and improve the squad. It is possible. Teams do it. I should have probably checked this first, but take Wolves this summer. Their net spend won't be much after selling Jota to Liverpool and Doherty to Spurs. But I would argue that they've improved their squad. And that's what you want to do. We're not in that position. Whenever I say a bid comes in, just interest. Whenever there's interest in one of our main players, Declan Rice, Issa Diop last year, and then when there is some bids like Payet and Marko Arnautovic, we seem to sort of panic almost as a football club. Oh no, you can't have our best player, and it doesn't really get said away. You take the Marko Arnautovic thing. I'm aware that he is an individual contributing massively to the way that it went about, but instead of negotiating with the Chinese club from day one, it was a case of no, he's not for sale. Even though the player made it very clear he wanted to go, we still ignored the fact that there was a bid there was interest there, we tried to get rid of it, negotiated a contract with him, paid him a bit more money, and he still left anyway, for less money than we were wanting. And I think we almost need to change this mentality of hands off our top players. I think we almost have to not encourage bids, but certainly maybe welcome them, if you like. If they arrive, and we'll deal with it there, and we'll decide how much we want for the player, and we'll do our best to get that much money, and we go again. But you can only really do that if, and this is coming into the second part of my argument or my discussion now, is if you know who you're going to go get. There's 2 weeks of the transfer window left now. We signed no one. It's slightly concerning, given that we should have been writing up our transfer targets, if you like, during lockdown. We should have had 2 lists, one for the Championship, one for the Premier League. This squad is what it is. Moyes, Sullivan, they all know the players that we're working with. They'd all worked with them for a decent period of time since Moyes coming in November up until lockdown. Once post-lockdown was finished, they should have then ripped up one half of the note because we were in the Premier League. Happy days, get rid of that side. We don't need that bit anymore. Here's the Premier League one. Let's go. Let's start working through our targets. Now, we're led to believe that they're still doing their due diligence on targets as now. It's a bit concerning. Tarkowski's obviously our main target. That's okay, but what's concerning is we didn't put the bid in for James Tarkowski on day one. That we've waited. We dragged our feet somewhat, and here we are now, 2 games in. Could have done with a centre-back against Newcastle, and we're bidding for a centre-back. But anyway, I'm getting a bit distracted here, haven't I? I'm a bit concerned. I actually think if we sold Declan Rice for 70 million, I think it would be between 60 and 70 is what we would get for Declan, as again, another prediction. I actually think we'd reinvest most of the money, if not all of it. The slight concern is the wages, because Declan's not on much, is he? 30 grand a week or something Declan's on. The player we'd get to replace him is going to be on more, and then if we're trying to upgrade other positions in the squad with the leftover lolly, their wages are also going to be included. So while we'll look at the transfer spend and say, oh, we've got £70 million there, £70 million of players, please, 3 players. The board will also look at it and go, hang on, 30 grand's left in wages. We're now away to spend 200 grand on wages. This isn't good. So it's a bit of an issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I actually think the club would reinvest the money. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I do believe this. I do believe that if they got 70 million, they would spend 70 million, or they would try and spend 70 million. It would be available to spend. My worry is spending it. If we are going to sell Declan, I'd like it done quick. And when I say quick, I mean in the next week, so we have a week to go and buy players. What scares me, what makes me nervous, is that the bid might not even come until next week. There might not even be a bid, but if there is, the last thing I want is to see that this going down to the last few days of the transfer window, because I think we all know what's going to happen. He could leave a few days before, and then we've got no time. We've got no time to bring in players. Bear in mind, we've just spent 8 weeks of the window being open, bringing in nobody. I'm unsure how you can be confident that we're going to bring in players with 8 days to go in the window. I just hope that the club do have a big list of players that if Declan left, here's player A to replace Declan, here's player B to replace Declan, we can't get A and so on, and then here's the other 3 or 4 players we're going to go for with the rest of the money to try and improve other areas of the squad. There's a couple of players I'd like. I see us linked to actually Idrissa Gana Gueye, used to be at Everton, you'll know him from Everton, at PSG. I think that would be a wise move if we could get him at a reasonable fee. I think that would replace Declan. Would he be as good as Declan? Possibly not, but I don't watch PSG, but certainly at Everton, I thought he was one of the best players in his position in the Premier League. So we can get him in and he still can do it, and then it frees up the money to improve other areas, whether that's someone like Rico Henry for the left back spot or not, I don't know. But I just hope we've got a plan. I pray we've got a game plan. And it makes me very nervous that if a bid does come in, we're going to panic and it's going to drag a little bit, because the end would possibly be inevitable. I think if a bid publicly does arrive for Declan, I think he's going. I'll be surprised if we're able to persuade him to stay. And B, I'm just a bit concerned that it's going to drag a little bit, that it'll take a while to negotiate, and it's understandable. It's not something you can do on an hour on the phone, but time's ticking for West Ham in the transfer window now, and I'm just worried that if Declan goes, the time available for us to bring players in is very small, and it's going to cause us to panic a little bit. If we were to sell Declan tomorrow, Tarkowski's sort of asking price from Burnley goes up. They'll think, hang on a minute, you just bid 35, you're now just going to get all that money for Declan. We'll have 45, thank you, because we'll be desperate. Every club will know we've got a load of money, and this is why I just hope we're a little bit wise and ahead of the game here, and we know who we're going to go get. So if Declan is going, and it is Idrissa Gana Gueye that we'd like to get in, I almost hope we've got a bid in for him anyway. there's no obligation to buy him. If you've got the bid in and it gets accepted and stuff, and the Declan doesn't go, happy days, you don't buy him. But Declan goes, you can almost flick that switch immediately and get going. You look at Wolves, as I mentioned Wolves earlier, the perfect example to me, because maybe there isn't correlation, but they sold Jota. Jota went on the Friday, or Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. Jota left Saturday. Liverpool confirmed the signing of Diego Jota from Wolves. The next day, yesterday, it's been reported everywhere that Wolves are extremely close to signing Semedo of Barcelona for what is not that far off a similar price fee. Now, I'm aware they're replacing Doherty with that in that position, but they're using the Jota money. It's almost like they had them bid in for Semedo, knowing that if Jota goes, the next day they can go sign that player with the money. And you can't help be a bit envious and a bit worried that West Ham wouldn't do that. West Ham would get the money in, do not much with it. Before you know it, we're either panicking and buying Hugos or the transfer window's shutting. Anyway, who do I want to replace Declan Rice? That's the big question, isn't it? That no one's answering. I've been teasing you for a couple of videos. I'm aware this one won't be popular, but I can say it. Basuma of Brighton. I've watched both Brighton's game. Last season I thought he was very, very good. Very good. Getting better every game I've seen him. And then the last 2 games he's played so far this season, I thought he's been excellent in that role, just in front of that back four. Basuma of Brighton. That's who I would like to see. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it, subscribe if you're around here. Leave your comments below as well. It's a funny old topic to tackle, particularly when you only do it in one take. I think it'd be a lot easier if I could just speak for an hour and edit it. I don't know how to edit, and I'm not giving Charlie an hour of me rambling to cut it down to 10-minute long. A bit harsh that. So anyway, there we go, one take. Hopefully it's alright, and I'll catch you in a bit.